introducing the Marissa McKay today.
Jada.
She's a first-year PhD student in Dr. Colby's lab and Dr. Sin's lab. She's currently studying implementation science and community nutrition. She completed her master's at the National University of Natural Medicine in 2022. And her mission is to empower and cultivate a worldwide community on the pursuit of health and happiness through love, personal evolution, and holistic nutrition provided by the earth and its diverse inhabitants. Today, she will present a world of the difference and the effects of a college course on food familiarity and diet quality. Thank you.
Thank you, Jada. Like she had mentioned, I am going to be presenting on A World of a Difference, the effects of a world food college course on food familiarity and diet quality. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge and thank Dr. Sarah Colby for the mentorship and for creating the World Foods class and the survey, as well as for collecting and supplying me with raw data. I'd also like to thank Professor Lee Murphy and the UT Public Health Department for distributing the survey. And thank you to all the World Foods and Introductory to Nutrition TAs for all your hard work. I'd also like to thank my lab and my friends for their support. I'd like everyone to pay close attention, especially to the outline slides. I have added a new food to each outline slide. On your feedback forms, if you could write down what food you think it is, I will go over the answers at the end, and there's going to be about 7 foods. So this is your first food. I'm going to give you a couple seconds. Go ahead and write down what you think it is. All right, so moving into the purpose, why are we going to look at college students? Well, college is a time of increasing independence and changing food patterns. This is a very important time because the changes experienced during college often establish lifelong patterns and can contribute to disease outcomes. Although there are many important factors that influence what college students eat, including food security, food availability, built environments, and social influences, taste is often reported to be a primary driver of food choice. Which foods taste good to a person can vary by physiological factors, but most often influenced by food environments and experiences. It is known that higher diet quality in university students is associated with higher academic achievement. Barriers to food familiarity on college campuses may be associated with food availability and built environments. Familiarity has been associated with diet quality interventions in order to reduce picky eating and improve dietary quality, but these studies have primarily been conducted in children and not college students. This is going to be your next food. Go ahead and write down what you think it is. Moving into the research question. Like I had mentioned, interventions to improve college students' dietary quality and that are focused on increasing familiarity and liking of foods are lacking. So the purpose of this study was to determine the effects of a World Foods class on college students' familiarity, liking, and diet quality. Here's your next food. Go ahead and let me know what you think it is. A little bit about the World Foods course. It's an online course that was developed by Dr. Colby at the University of Tennessee to help undergraduate students learn about foods from around the world. Students' objectives include identifying and evaluating contemporary, historical, and human experiences related to food and how the dynamic of individual, political, ethnic, cultural, and social issues impact what we eat. During the semester, students read written summaries about foods with weeks on the following topic areas: grains, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds, root vegetables, greens, other vegetables, citrus fruits, berries, and other fruits. The summaries included information about the cultural, historical, and human experiences related to food and how the dynamic, The summaries included information about the history, cultural information, interesting facts, nutrient composition, relationship to disease and health, Agriculture, with a focus on sustainable agricultural systems, selecting, storing, preparing, and some cultural dishes commonly made using the foods. As some of you know and are grading these assignments, students then select a food from the week's written summary to try, and students then select a food from the week's written summaries to try and then post about their experiences, sometimes including a video about the food they found, how it is grown, and how it is cooked. They respond to their classmates' posts, and in other weeks of the semester, students took online exams, completed food presentations about cultural dishes that contained the foods covered in the course, and reviewed their peers' food presentations. During course development, foods to include in the curriculum had been identified through a literature review of edible plants grown around the world. Plants used only as herbs and spices were excluded. 11 undergraduate students were asked to review the list of foods and identify any additional plant foods they found in online searches. 3 foods were added to the list based on their feedback. The list of foods was reviewed by 5 registered dietitians and 3 culinary experts to determine if the list was appropriate for meeting the goals of the course. No additional foods were added. The list was then used to create a survey with 2 areas: a person's familiarity with 200 foods and a liking of the same 200 foods. The survey was then reviewed by the same group of 5 registered dietitians for content validity and 11 undergraduate nutrition students for face validity. No changes were made to the structure or the wording of the questions. Questions for familiarity were structured as, I don't know what this is. I've heard of it, but I don't think I've tried it. I've heard of it and I think I've tried it, but I'm not sure. I've heard of it and I've definitely tried this food. I've heard of it, but I'm allergic to it. Questions for liking were structured as, I love it, I like it, neutral, I don't like it, I hate it, and I'm allergic to it. Questions for liking were structured with skip logic used to display the questions for food identified as being familiar in the familiarity section. A scoring system was developed to quantify a level of familiarity and liking as a continuous score. An equal weighting was utilized so that the top possible score was 400 for familiarity and 400 for liking. Some of the measures that we took, we collected demographics, the food familiarity, the food liking, diet quality, and we had questions on picky eating self-identification. Picky eating was a variable measured, but for time's sake, I will not be discussing it today because it can be a whole presentation in and of itself. At the beginning and the end of each semester, the students took the survey in spring of 2022. We collected and analyzed surveys from students in 3 classes: the online world foods class, an online introductory nutrition class, and an in-person public health class. Each course was a 3 credit hour general education course and was either a 100 or 200 level class. In the introductory to nutrition course and the public health course, the students were offered the option of completing the pre and post survey to receive extra credit. All students in the world food class were required to take the survey as part of their class. All students had the option of whether or not their information was used in this research. Students enrolled in more than 1 course only had to take the survey once to receive either class or extra credit, and they were excluded from data analysis. Data analysis was performed using SPSS. Diet quality was assessed using the Short Healthy Eating Index. Food familiarity and food liking used Likert scale questions and was scored up to 400 points. An ANOVA was conducted to determine differences in diet quality scores and food familiarity and liking scores between and within the groups. Here's your next food, and I think most of you have tried this food, actually. Moving on to the results. Pairwise comparison pre to post revealed a significant mean increase in familiarity in the world foods class. With a p-value of less than 0.001, the mean increased from 155 to 210.1. There was significant mean increase in familiarity in the introductory nutrition class with a p-value of less than 0.001 and a mean increase from 159.3 to 172.9. The introduction to public health showed no significant changes from pre to post in food familiarity scores. Moving on to food liking, data analysis revealed a significant increase in liking scores in only the world foods class. The p-value was less than 0.001 with a mean increase from 68.57 to 86.1. The introduction to public health and introduction to nutrition showed no significant change from pre to post in food liking scores. For diet quality, pairwise comparison pre to post revealed a significant mean increase in dietary quality in the world foods class with a p-value of 0.008 and a mean increase of 48.8 to 50. There was a significant mean increase in diet quality in the introduction to nutrition class with a p-value of 0.031 and a mean increase from 47.7 to 49.2. The introduction to public health showed no significant change from pre to post in diet quality. Here's your next food. In conclusion, having a college student either take a world foods or general nutrition course can be a novel way to improve students' dietary quality. The world foods class having no focus on individual dietary behavior indicates that a course focused on increasing familiarity to foods from around the world appear to be an effective strategy to improve diet quality among college students. Here's your next food. Now to the future direction. I'd like to add to the survey. I'd like to add questions about cooking and growing and expand upon the picky eating questions. I'd also like to add to the demographics section to get a better understanding of who's taking these surveys. I'd also like to send to other disciplines at UT for further comparison. I think the agriculture department would be a great one. And I'd want to look at the qualitative end of semester reviews. And my next steps, I'm going to be presenting this research at Ispenpa in Uppsala. This is your last food. Limitations of this survey are the lack of data on demographics, including where they are from, where they are currently living, transportation, food access, food insecurity, kitchen access, and their major. The respondent burden is also a limitation of the survey, as it can get quite lengthy and can be up to 400 questions. Strengths include the sample size, the variety of the food, and the novel intervention. Now I'm going to let you know what all these foods are. Number 1 is quinoa. Number 2 is jujube. 3 is fava beans. 4 are cashews. 5 is wild rice. 6 is lotus root. And 7 is pawpaw. And a pawpaw is native to Eastern Tennessee. Here are my references. Are there any questions?